Over 1 billion people ride the London Underground every year, completely unaware of the shadow world lurking just inches past the glass. It's a claustrophobic maze where the sun has never shone, and where things that should be dead are waiting in the dark. Arthur Pendelton was a broken man. 5 years ago, his 5-year-old daughter Lily vanished from a crowded park in broad daylight. She was wearing a bright yellow raincoat. No trace, no witnesses, no body. The not knowing is a specific kind of psychological torture that rots a parent from the inside out. Arthur's wife left him, his friends stopped calling, and his entire existence shrank down to the driver's cabin of the Piccadilly line. He took the night shifts on purpose. The dark tunnels matched the emptiness in his chest. It was a freezing Tuesday in November 1998. Arthur was driving the final train of the night. The carriages behind him were completely empty. As the train roared through the deep, curving tunnel past Holborn, it approached the sealed-off, abandoned platform of Aldwych Station. Aldwych had been closed to the public for years, a dusty, forgotten ghost station trapped in perpetual darkness. As the train aligned with the hidden platform, the impossible happened. A massive power failure hit the sector. The screeching brakes locked, sparks showering the dark tunnel as the train ground to a violent, jarring halt directly in front of the abandoned Aldwych platform. The cabin lights died. The hum of the engine faded into nothingness. Arthur was plunged into absolute, suffocating darkness. The silence of the deep earth was deafening. He reached for the emergency radio to contact surface control, but his hand froze mid-air. Echoing through the thick glass of his cabin window, cutting through the pitch-black silence of the tunnel, was the sound of a child crying. Arthur's heart slammed against his ribs. It wasn't the echo of the wind. It was a soft, rhythmic sobbing coming directly from the abandoned platform outside. His hands shaking uncontrollably, Arthur slammed his fist against the manual override switch for the exterior emergency spotlight. A harsh, blinding beam of white light cut through the decades of floating dust on the Aldwych platform. And there, standing perfectly still among the decaying vintage posters and cracked tiles, was a little girl. She was looking down at her shoes. She was wearing a bright yellow raincoat. Arthur stopped breathing. The radio on his dashboard suddenly crackled to life in a burst of violent static. "Pendelton, this is Control. We register a massive power surge in your sector. Do not leave the cabin. Repeat, stay in the cabin. Rescue crews are..." Arthur grabbed the radio mic, tears instantly hot and heavy on his face. "Control. She's here. She's right here. It's Lily. Arthur, listen to me." The dispatcher screamed, panic bleeding through the static. "The station is sealed. There is no one down there. The surge is causing a fire in the lower vents. You need to seal the cabin." But Arthur wasn't listening. Outside the thick glass, the little girl slowly raised her head. The spotlight illuminated her face. It was her. It was Lily. She looked exactly as she had 5 years ago. Not a day older. She didn't look frightened. She looked directly into Arthur's eyes, gave him a soft, familiar smile, and slowly raised her small hand, gesturing for him to open the doors. The logical part of Arthur's brain, the veteran driver, knew it was impossible. He knew the air in the tunnel was turning toxic. He knew the things that wait in the dark were the faces of those we love. But the overwhelming, crushing grief of a father who just wanted to hold his little girl one last time was stronger than any fear of death. "Pendelton, do not touch those doors. Pendelton." Arthur let the radio mic drop to the floor. He reached up, grasped the heavy pneumatic lever for the passenger doors, and pulled it down. With a loud hiss of compressed air, the doors slid open, welcoming the freezing, dusty air of the abandoned station into the train. Arthur stepped out of the cabin and walked, into the dark. When emergency rescue crews finally pried the train doors open 3 hours later, the fire had been extinguished. The train was completely empty. They searched the tunnels, the hidden vents, and the decaying platform of Aldwych. Arthur Pendelton was gone. He was never seen again. The official transport report cited toxic smoke inhalation and a tragic mental breakdown. But when they checked Arthur's driver cabin, sitting perfectly folded on the center of his leather seat, covered in fresh tunnel dust, was a small, bright yellow raincoat dot. There are things buried in the deep earth that feed on our deepest grief. Mainstream history writes them off as tragedies. But at Classified Britannia, we open the restricted files. Subscribe and turn on notifications. And if you ever find yourself alone on the last train home, don't look out the window